Uh-oh. Welcome, everybody. To get us started off, we have a very special message from our off site correspondent who has something hot and steaming for you. Get ready. Oh,
Hey, y'all, what's up? It's Friday, so I'm gonna keep it black. But I'm not about to keep it free. I'm just here to read these white motherfuckers at Capitol in no particular order. It was the Kim Possible and the Ron Stoppable on the side of the building for me. You're mad. You're so mad because you finally see what the rest of us have been trying to tell you. That the longest standing and unchecked terroristic threat in America has been white supremacists. It be your own people. Let me tell you what these good old boys meant when they said, give me liberty or give me death. Give me the liberty to be sexy.
They can't hear it.
Just stop it. We play it later. Can't nobody hear it. Can't nobody hear you neither.
I'm on mute.
One day the first shall be the last and the last shall be the first.
Okay, everybody. It is apparent that you all could not hear our good sister Lenise. So since her hashtag or her at is right up in there, at underscore Lenise, you need to watch that read. I could hear it just fine. So it was a replay for me. So I'm sorry that you guys had some technical difficulties. Thank you, Terry and Harry and my mama and my wife and everybody else. Sorry we could not have that for you, but we do have our own large steaming tureens of tea and foolishness. With me, as always, are my partners in Crisime. To my, I'm going to say left, is Joy Stevens.
Cheers, everybody.
My sister in Tallahassee, Sharon Let Monet Hicks.
Good evening, beautiful people.
And my other Tallahassee partner, by way of Morehouse and FAMU and KSI, Mr. Chuck Hobbs.
Yo, Noob, how you doing?
I am okay. I will say that this week has brought more drama than I thought was possible after a week that included the first breach of the Capitol since the War of 1812. We are in, I think, December 49th of 2020. We clearly have not stopped with 2020. Trump's former personal physician finally passed away this week. The one who said he was going to be the healthiest man ever to occupy the White House before Trump sent his Gestapo soldiers over to raid his office because he had some nice things to say. And we saw the revelation that Ivanka and Jared were so dismissive of the Secret Service detail that was sworn to protect their lives that they insisted that instead of using one of the 6.5 bathrooms in their huge mansion in the suburbs, they initially had those people taking a leak in a porta potty, and the folks in the neighborhood were upset. So then a neighbor of theirs who occupies the house where President Obama used to live post-presidency, they were using a bathroom in that garage. And then, finally, when that became untenable, the United States government, from whom President Trump does not derive a salary, was renting a $3,000 a month apartment across the street from Jared and Ivanka's mansion so that the Secret Service detail could make water and not make water in their house. So that was a $100,000 bill, $3,000 a month for a toilet is what the Trumps were charging us. And that's on top of the salary that both she and Jared were receiving. And on top of the, yes, go ahead, Joy, you can continue with the litany.
Let's not forget that the apartment that they rented out was from friends of the Kushners.
Of course.
Yeah, so they kept that money in house. You know, I tell you what, look, girl, I'm going to not let them use my bathroom. Then I'm going to tell them they can rent a place from you. You can get some of this government money too. That's called a hookup. That's what we call it in the hood when you run a scam on somebody like that.
Yeah, scam is what I would have said. A hookup is like, go on ahead and bring your girlfriend into this movie theater when you only bought one. Or I see you have that garbage bag. Let me fill it up with some popcorn. That's a hookup. $3,000 a month for some people who can save your life to take a pee because you don't want them in your precious room when you got 6.5 bathrooms and only 4 people in the house. What are you talking about? You have 4 people, and 2 of those people are little baby people, and they barely using a bathroom anyway. They could share one. I know I never had a bathroom to myself in my life because I had a brother and a sister. Are you kidding me? You paid $3,000 a month so the people who would take a bullet for you can do a deuce in a different home? Are you kidding? And that's before we saw a bust of Lincoln inexplicably being frog marched out of the damn White House. Now, I have heard some people say that, the presidents get to choose from a variety of artifacts that they can use to decorate the White House, and so maybe it was just going back to storage. He was carrying the unhooded, unboxed bus in jeans into a truck. Thank you. And according to President Trump, who signed an executive order, looting of a federally owned property could result in a minimum of 10 years in prison. So,
but I thought they were rich, and I thought that if you're so rich, you don't need to carry stuff. I figured that they got all kind of Warhols and I don't know, Monets and what have you at their palatial. Yeah, exactly.
They have some Photoshop Time magazine covers. They have a bootleg coat of arms that they gaffled from some dude in England until
they printed off the internet and laminated.
I mean, until they said, yeah, so this is real and you can't just do that. So they had all of those people, the peerage folks were like, yeah, Trump, no, y'all.
No.
But what's funny is that, it's a shame that the paparazzi's taking those pictures, right? Because I remember about 20 years ago, y'all remember all the shade that was getting thrown at the Clintons? They were talking all kind of trash, talking about the Clintons were taking knives and forks and And
I remember they were still in the silverware.
right, it was. I was like, wow, y'all really go
They
put
took all the W's off of every computer.
Yeah, off every
All the
keyboard.
W's off the keyboards.
right. So as my understanding, there is a degree of petty generally that goes on with the transfer with some of these folks. I don't know, but it was hilarious. And the best photo I saw this week was when the bros were put that moving truck came in. And it was us. And I was sitting there thinking, go ahead, brothers. They had their masks on and they were getting ready to get that stuff right up out the White House.
Get
That
your
made my
hat,
entire
your
week.
coat, and leave, man.
Right.
Do you know how much I cackled when I saw the picture of those 5-foot-high stacks of cardboard boxes?
Right.
I cackled.
Yeah.
From the Latin cacele.
Lord Jesus.
I hooted when I saw that because it was just like you waited this long, and now it's like, you know how some people in college, I'm not saying I was one of those people, but like when you know you hadn't paid the last month rent because it was the end of the semester and you were just trying to get all your stuff and you said, but it's okay, I'll get it as soon as June 29th rolls around, and then it's June 29th and a half and you're just waking up from having consumed some Boone's Farm and you looking around what looks like a bomb site, and you're like, "Where are the plastic bags? Where's the garbage? What do I go do?" You call some of the homies over to grab stuff, and you get some Lysol and some sponges, and you try to clean stuff down, and you know
Tom,
it looks barely like a crime scene when you're done.
Tom,
Yes,
that's real detailed story time.
I mean, I'm just saying.
I mean, it's a lot of vivid imagery in there, Tom.
I know some people.
You heard some things, right.
You know, Jay Nice has said in the chat, I'm going to pop this in because it is very important. In addition to the bad news that Trump received about everything, basically, his entire world falling apart, Deutsche Bank, and I brought up Deutsche Bank 2 episodes ago, Deutsche Bank is for real, like, yeah, so we were going to let you maybe slide, but now that you've incited insurrection against your own home country and there's nobody on the planet who's feeling you, we might need to get our credits, please, or you're going to be thrown into some carbonite and taken to Tatooine so Jabba the Hutt can host your ass, because we are ready. We need that $320 million.
Wait, I want to bring up another comment if I can.
Absolutely.
Can I do this? I did it.
Look at you.
So, the brothers that were selling Trump
That's
t-shirts,
right.
and for $100 a pop made $50,000. Hats off to them brothers, because I love when somebody rolled up on and they were like, "We don't believe none of this, but these folks out here buying shirts for like $100. We about to stay out here all day."
Old boy said, "This is paying for my college." That's
I'm
what
with
he said. Because people were like, "How, brother? How could you sell a Trump shirt?" He was like, "Get on from here. Get on from here."
Yeah, can't knock the hustle, man.
See,
No doubt about it.
you got a net check.
Right.
I got a net of checks.
Right.
So I'm not worried about it. Sharon, you have been enjoying the carnage.
Tom had an extended introduction, Joy, so I decided to just sit here and smile.
It is a nuts week in this country. Biggest news, I guess, not a surprise, but he was impeached again. We said that he was going to be impeached. He is only the first person ever in the history of the country to be impeached twice. As I think it was Jim Jordan, although I couldn't tell because his tobacco-stained lower teeth that are clustered like a person who knew about sexual assault in his wrestling team but didn't say anything. He said that Nancy Pelosi is in charge of half of the impeachments that have ever happened in this entire country. Well, yes, of course that's true, because 2 happened over the course of a calendar year. So, and with the highest number of people in his own party voting for impeachment ever. And the head of the Senate, at least for a few more days, Mitch McConnell, talking about, yeah, I think the Democrats did the right thing. So,
look, are you throwing that to me?
Yes, I'm throwing it to you.
Look, first of all, hey peeps, I'm exhausted. I can't wait to just not hear Donald Trump name no more. I'm exhausted. I started this week like, yes, you better impeach him. Now I'm like, motherfucker, just leave. Just go somewhere. My fight is like, there ain't enough wine, there ain't enough liquor. There's not enough. I don't scream no more. So I'm like, what? Can he just go? Now this impeachment. It is an absolute imperative that some justice be brought. I appreciate the history books, 2 impeachments. I know I'm delusional, but I wish some people would find some cojones and really fully impeach him, scrub him from the books. I found out because I've been up to 3 o'clock every morning, obsessed with the news, which is why I'm so tired. I just, more than being fully impeached, I want whatever ratification, whatever thing has got to pass, because evidently this full impeachment does not stop him from running again. There's like a next step.
Second vote.
That is about you are no longer able to run again. So that depressed me. I was like, fuck, can we do this all in one bill? Shit, something. So I'm more interested in that, of them just passing whatever they got to pass to say, and, I know it's far-fetched to believe he can go to jail, but I want a whole bunch of people arrested.
I want imprisonment for the seditious traitors.
Especially those congressional members. Now, when you get to a point that you are giving tours to insurrectionists.
Say it the day before.
Honey, y'all need bull. Y'all need straight up bull, because I'm trying to understand, first of all, it's COVID. Second of all, this is just an hour breaking news, because I know y'all was rushing to the thing. Tours have been suspended since March.
Hello.
It's COVID. So what you doing giving tours the day before an insurrection to some hillbillies?
You giving layouts.
Right.
Thank you.
There it is, Joy.
And y'all heard that Ayanna Presley's panic buttons were all ripped out.
Yeah.
Her panic buttons were gone.
All of them.
And the videos, we have seen mayhem. We haven't seen the calculated videos.
Right.
There is a camera in every inch of the
Capitol. Of
every
course.
inch. All they had time to do was grab some panic buttons. There are cameras that some of the Capitol Police don't know about. Especially the congressional members, like, look under your seat, there's a gas mask. It's like, huh? Let us see. Somebody said, well, they must have had a drill. I'm saying, no, they were doing a drill inside, talking about this is how you put it on. They got gas masks underneath their seats.
Yeah.
So I mean, the FBI is slowly but surely coming out. They are the only crew that's trying to wait to January 21st. It's these old stupid ass media people that, we got to have something to talk about for the next 5 days. That's like pushing people to name these people, and they're helping. Like, can y'all media just be a little strategic? Just January 21st.
Thank you.
Because if this fool pardons all those people, I don't know what's going to break loose.
Oh, no.
I don't think there's enough sanity. I don't think there's enough diplomacy. And I hope that FBI portion of the investigation just rolls out starting on the 21st.
Yeah. And Sharon, that's where I have struggled this week is, last week we talked about, none of us believed that this was happenstance, or we knew that there was some level of coordination even last week. And now this week we have been inundated with confirmation that it was a planned attack here. And what I struggled with, and what I struggled with last week also, is the hypocrisy. I don't think I have, since I got on social media about a decade ago, spent the entire week hammering the same thing. Usually I like to dip into other topics. Like, sometimes people come on and try to be pithy, and they'll say stuff like, we need to stay on focus. And I'm like, well, no, when we went to school, when we were younger, we had English first period, algebra second period, science third period. You can do more than one thing and continue to, prosper. But this week I have stayed focused on this because I am tired of the hypocrisy of some of our non-melanated brothers and sisters in this world. And I have to say some, because we all know some down the ride, progressive, and even some moderate whites who are disgusted by what they have seen over the last 2 weeks. Okay, so we get that. But I have tried to do my level best to continue to troll, gaslight, highlight all of these trumpets who have consistently talked about rule of law. That person would be alive if they had just complied. And that's where I am too. Your guy would have been alive had he applied. That young lady would have been alive had she not tried to crawl through that door. And I am usually a very compassionate type, but I just can't draw compassion on people who are doing things like this. I mean, again, like we talked last week, we can't even go and walk at certain times of the day out of fear of being misconstrued as a burglar. And here these folks are kicking in windows. And what really disturbs me is when some of our non-melanated brothers and sisters are acting so surprised about what their racial kinsmen did last week and were planning to do in the weeks before that. And again, at the end of the day, these ones, they keep trying to draw the false distinctions to, well, last year we had Black Lives Matter and they were tearing stuff up. I'm like, dude, those protests were in relation to people who were victims. You all were not victims of anything other than a con man working his latest con. There was no rigged election. Nothing was stolen. And you all bought into it because it was just like having a bunch of 20 to 80-year-olds having a massive temper tantrum because they didn't get their way in the election. And I'm not going to stop highlighting that. In the last piece on that, it really bothers the heck out of me even to see how Mike Pence could be so tone deaf over the last 4 years. I mean, here is a guy, I don't know if y'all heard it earlier today, but I was watching. We heard where Trump was throwing him under the bus last week during his rally. We know that there were people who were specifically in that Capitol for the express purpose of trying to find him, kidnap him, and potentially assassinate him.
With a gallows outside of the Capitol building.
With gallows outside. And so for the life of me, where I do think there's a cultural disconnect, and maybe one of these days we can have some of our allies who are down for the cause to explain. I just don't understand this concept, y'all, whereby if somebody threatens to kill me or harm me, there's no coming back. There's no, we're cool next week. For the rest of my life, I'm either trying to get you, or at a minimum, I'm not fooling with you anymore. Right. There is no comeback to that. And yet these men somehow are able to put all of that aside. I'm talking about the specific Republicans and like, well, we need to come together for you. I just don't get it. Maybe somebody can explain it to me, because the way I grew up, like, beef is everlasting, huh?
Trump called him out accurately.
Yeah, he did. And you use the word men, which is one of the problems with your sentence, because Eduardo Cruz sat there and had that man call his wife out his name, talk about his daddy, and now he's sitting here talking about like he's got to defend the such and such and thus and so. There was an excellent podcast today on The Daily, which is the New York Times podcast hosted by Mike Barbaro. And he interviewed someone. I'm not going to say his name because he's my gangster. But these people in Congress, there were different pockets of Republicans who supported this. Some are just dumb people who got elected because they were kissing Trump's ass the entire time. And they were only able to be elected because they were kissing his ass, and they're just dumb. They actually believe some of this stuff. Some are saying it because they are craven political cowards who know that if they cross Trump, then they're going to be primaried. And if they get primaried and they lose, they're going to lose their cushy job. That's posse number 2. Okay. Number 3 are the people who know that they're safe, but like the drama, right? They know that it's a lie. They know that they're safe, that nobody's going to primary them. And if they were primaried, they'd be okay. But they're still not going to say anything about it. And then you have the folks that are actually legit scared. Like folks have shown up on their lawn. People know where they live. They got babies. And they're legit afraid that some of these crazy people may come for them. But all of them are cowards, and Craven. And if Marjorie QAnon goofy poof doesn't sit down somewhere, she is the worst. And who was the little skinny chick in the black mask who was screaming like she was Kimberly Guilfoyle on the congressional floor, talking, just spewing forth a nonstop litany of lies. Don't talk to me about peace, don't talk to me about healing until you all stand up and say, because McCarthy kind of did it, but he didn't do it the way he needed to do it. It was not stolen. We understand why you believe it might have been stolen, because it's what you were told. But you were told incorrect information. It was not stolen. Biden is legitimate. The efforts that we took were not constitutional. They were never going to work. The idea that you running up to D.C. on the 6th was going to change the fact that Joe Biden was elected president, that was just another lie. And there are a bunch of people who have lied to you. We apologize, and we're willing to take our lumps for it. But we can't call this country a country of healing until we let y'all know you were lied to. Say that, and then talk to me about not impeaching or not convicting. But before then, like I told you, I have an ass and it is available to kiss. Go ahead, Joy.
So I want to go back. I want to put this comment up, and I want to go back to this idea. They put it aside because white supremacy trumps all else. And that is the history of this country. I had a discussion not even 3 hours ago with another group, and they were like, wondering, like, what does it mean? What is Americanism? And there was another black lady on the call, and she was like, this. And she talked about how specifically a faction of white America thinks that they can do no wrong, they're invincible, that they deserve rights wherever they go, like in another country talking about I'm an American. Don't nobody care. It's not the rules over here. And this idea of if anybody else crosses them, that person needs to be eradicated from the face of the earth. But if they do wrong, they should be forgiven because they're good people. That dichotomy is Americanism, that they are the ones that this country was made for and needs to stay for. Anybody that believes differently either needs to get out or be killed. And if they do something wrong, we see it time and again. Every time white folks do something wrong, and again, I'm generalizing because we know there's good white people, blah, blah, blah. But every time they do something wrong, they want to be forgiven.
Right.
Every time anybody else does something wrong, they want to burn the whole person, neighborhood, school, country to the ground when it's over. Think about this. After the Civil War, they let those Civil War generals come back and run businesses,
absolutely,
be professors in schools. One of them was a professor of philosophy at LSU. Be in Congress once again.
Robert E. Lee became a college president.
Exactly, they were forgiven, and they perpetuated that lost cause bullshit far and wide because the traitors were allowed to stay. They were forgiven because they were related to half of the people in the union. Right. Then you have Reconstruction. You have post-Reconstruction, you have the loss of hundreds of thousands of lives over the course of 1877 to 1965, right? Yeah. Oh, that was somebody else. That we don't do that anymore. Can't we just all come together and move forward? They only want to come together and move forward when they done messed up. When somebody else does something justifiably out of anger at their treatment, well, y'all are just animals and y'all need to, you can't govern yourselves and all of y'all need to go to jail. But when they do something, oh, that's different. Even when it's sedition. And this is the second time a group of Americans has tried to overthrow the government. The third, if you count Wilmington, North Carolina. But they do this over and over again. And they're constantly surprised that they do this over and over again because they got short memories. They gloss it over or hide it, then forget about it. And then they're shocked again when it happens again. You're just like your granddaddy. Somebody even said it on Twitter. Now you understand why your grandparents wore hoods.
Yeah.
But they're out here losing their jobs because their face is on camera. Should learn better.
Y'all heard about the CEO with the $1 million salary who was out there posing for selfies on Parler, and his company said, so yoink. Goodbye. Just like Twitter pulled them tweets, and he came out and he actually, he's sorry because he lost $1 million. He was the CEO of a company that could afford to pay him $1 million. I'm the CEO of something, but if I lost my job for the CEO thing I'm CEO of, it wouldn't mean anything. But $1 million a year. And
Tom, I want to ask something, and this might sound, y'all know I grew up a Christian. I'm still a Christian. I grew up in a Baptist church. I have morphed into an AME, older in life, but I have to put it out here. At what point in time do these anarchists and rebels get what they claim they want? Since they're always posing with the AR-15s and AK-47s and out there in the woods, running around, painting their faces, acting like they're Braveheart or Rambo. Or
organic Braveheart.
Right. Organic food Braveheart. At what point in time does the U.S. military or law enforcement decide, okay, y'all want to run up, get done up? Like, I'm tired of give them what they want. Since this is what they say they want, in my mind, I'm like, if they run up in the Capitol on the 17th, everybody is waiting with bated breath to see what's going to happen. I can tell you that right here, Sharon and I know in Tallahassee, a counter. Okay, the guy who got arrested today actually was trying to develop a group of individuals to run up on the MAGA mob. So, you know, that kind of has been lost in translation here. Yeah, this former soldier is like, hey, I need me some soldiers to come and fight those soldiers. And he got arrested, which also is interesting to me because I'm like, it's interesting that they're able to catch and snuff out the guy that's trying to get at the MAGAs, but the MAGAs were able to, for 3 weeks straight, talk about we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and then we're going to do that. So in my opinion, I'm trying to fit, or just in my curiosity, at what point in time do they get what they say they want? I mean, which is how we all grew up. If people kept talking trash when we grew up, it's like at a certain point, it's no more talking. Like, after, all right, dude, I'll see you after school. You got all this shit you're saying. Let's see if you really want to do it. And a lot of times it didn't even get that much talking. I've always said to people in that more ignorant side of me, when I hush, that's when you need to be careful, because the next move ain't gonna be talking. It's rights and lefts and feet. So with that in mind,
feet,
kick them to sleep. So when do they get what they want, y'all? Y'all tell me. I want
Chuck, this is what I want to understand. This is going to be just like the Confederate War. Okay, this is straight up. So these are a bunch of just radicals. They're the radicals, right? But let's. I've been saying this to y'all for a couple months now. I want to sit back and watch. Y'all could talk about BLM all you want to. If we were such ravishes, why are you trying to be like us?
Right.
If we were such beasts, why are you trying to be like us?
So especially when the only person you saw burning down the first protest, what color was that person's skin? You're pointing to your own skin. I know you don't have very much melanin, Joy. Thank you, Victoria, for reminding us of that point.
Hey, was on top this week. Okay.
Hey, you know what? Yo, we need to fix that again. There we go.
Thank you.
Right. We gotta have some diversity in here, okay?
Anyways, so
now there it is. The color's on top.
I got you know what? I'll have you know that my me came back. I am 84% West African, so y'all kiss my high yellow ass.
Yeah, they do have yellow Igbo in Nigeria. That's a thing. That's a real thing.
True that.
So let me get back to the white people. Okay. I ain't apologizing. If you white and you ain't about that foolishness, then you know we ain't talking about you, damn it.
Amen.
So let me be very clear. I want to see what white justice look like. Okay. I want Chuck, this is me and your assignment. Joy gonna get us the ratchet stuff. I wanna know names. I want to know length of convictions. I want to know if anybody makes death row. You killed a Capitol policeman who was white.
Bashed his head in.
Okay. Yeah. So, and I, like I said, I'm up every night, 3:00 in the morning, like a crazy person. And they had fire extinguishers beating cops with fire extinguishers.
Flagpoles.
I want and spears. They were like spear chuckers up in there. So my thing is, I want to see what white justice looks like. Okay. They weren't, they were animals. I mean, they were just ravished beasts. I can't even wear pearls today. I need to wear some chains, so I'm like, what exactly do you think y'all are going to achieve? Like, you didn't learn from y'all ancestors where this get you?
Right.
So all I want is Joe and Kamala to take their ass into the Indian Treaty Room and get sworn in. Then they can come outside and just do the wave. Do the wave. I don't pomp and circumstance. No. Put your ass inside and get sworn in.
I want a Joe Biden mannequin covered in Kevlar with an animatronic hand, just like this. I don't want to see Joe. They gonna take pot shots. I just want to hit the mannequin.
So let's also understand something as my girl Joy takes another sip. And I want to understand what white justice looks like. I want to see everything. There has to be some congressional members expelled.
Oh, yes.
And at least one arrested.
Yeah.
Well, now, there's 3 been named by that Sammy Davis Jr. baby cousin.
Well, I almost think that he's a cell. I almost think that he's part of the FBI or CIA or something that was put in there, reverse justice. So I'm serious because they now say he's in hiding. I said, no, he was real clear when he started naming names, and then he went into the genie bottle. He did.
He went to go get some more texturizer.
I mean, if he ain't the craziest, I think all of that's a setup because I want to see white justice play out. Because y'all said it best when you talk about your ancestors and them clan hoods. I just got chills all over my body when y'all said that because I'm like, to your point, what y'all thought y'all was going to achieve?
Right.
Like some of you are actually intelligent. Some of these people out there, they were elected officials putting it all on the shelf, hoodless and all. They put it all on the shelf. But did you see the siblings? It's like 4 siblings against one of the congressmen. Is his name Gosar?
Yes, Paul A. Gosar.
Straight lunatic. Straight lunatic. Well before Trump. Who elected this man?
Right.
Well, that's one of the ones that Eddie King.
In your house do a commercial against you. I'm with Niecy girl. If your family say you're crazy, who the fuck am I to believe you're not?
Exactly.
The whole family. All of
commercial. But the dude won.
So,
what's up with the people that voted for him?
Well, I mean,
what exactly was he offering y'all? The man is so QAnon ain't just homegirl Marjorie.
No.
Somebody elected the mofo.
And I'm trying to figure out where Q is and where he fixing to go now that Trump is out of office because he was apparently posted up right next to the satanic blood baby pedophilia pizza parlor taking names. And so now that Trump is out and apparently he wasn't able to save all the little babies, where is Q going?
But I'm gonna shut up in a second, but let's be really, really clear. Donald Trump is not their leader. He gave them oxygen.
Yeah. Right. No, he's the figurehead.
He gave them oxygen. And what Pence think he doing? You think you're gonna roll up into the people that wanted to hang you? You think you're gonna roll up and be their president? I mean, you tell me you're gonna hang me, I believe you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I
You're
don't
not
think
wrangling those
folks later and reach middle ground.
You know what? You say something very interesting about Pence thinking he's gonna roll up on nobody else. Because let's remember that first of all, Trump is not a Republican. He never was. He ran on a Republican ticket because the Democratic ticket was too strong, and so he's like, I can take these losers over here, and he actually got them. And when you ask, what are people voting for? They are voting for what Trump represents to them. So one of my friends put it great. He made it cool to be racist again. And so they are voting for holding on to that ability to say what they want, to spit on somebody and yell Trump, like that just gets them out of trouble all the time. They think that because he's invincible, they're invincible, but that ain't how that works. He's invincible because he keeps throwing people in front of him as a shield and getting away. And he's throwing all of them under the bus as well. He ain't helping nobody because he never cared about any of them. He just likes to set fire to things and watch it burn. And we know that about him. But
I saw a wonderful tweet thread. It was about 22 tweets long, but it was talking about the enchantment with Trump. And the basic premise is that every poor white person who votes for Trump, you're in Mississippi, you ain't never had nothing in your whole life. But the only reason you're not Trump is because of an unfortunate temporary set of circumstances. Like next week, you about to be a billionaire. And when you're a billionaire, you're going to be with your billionaire friends. So despite the fact that you are 79 and still suffering in squalor, you're just this close to being a billionaire. And
But they've been thinking that way for a long
for
time.
a long time.
There have
And
been
Trump is
books
the
written about
distillation
that,
of
the
that.
plight of the poor
theme.
white man.
Right.
You know? And they always think they think that black people or any other person that's on government assistance is lazy, don't want to get a job, baby mama, welfare queen, all that kind of stuff. They're looking at their daughter and she just need to get her life together, and her 7 kids are going to grow up and be millionaires. And they look at themselves with their 7 teeth amongst the 7 of them, thinking, well, I'm just down on my luck right now. I don't want your government assistance because I'm about to hit it big, with the lottery or whatever. And so they believe in their hearts that they are different. And Chuck, you asked, what do they really want a while ago? They first of all, they say don't let your mouth write a check that your ass can't cash. I need to see asses cashing checks.
Me too.
But
Me too.
on the other side, what they really want, Chuck, you see how you still right there looking all nice with your little outfit on in a house that you own, and you got they want that to go away. They're gonna be better than you, and until they are better than you, they're gonna be mad, which means they're gonna be mad forever.
Yeah.
Forever.
Because there's a bunch of us. I mean, it's just like we pushed back, when we used to, when President Obama was running and it became president. Oh, he's so articulate. I'm like, that's a dime a dozen. At HBCUs, everybody that was in my dorm was articulate. And I mean, no disrespect to President Obama, he is articulate, but so are so many of us. And so at the end of the day, it offends their personality that, like Joy, like you're saying, that we are doing so well. And then don't discount this too, for a lot of white males. And again, we have to keep doing this disclaimer so that we don't get shut down. If you're an ally, we're not talking about you. All right. But a lot of these guys, they hate us, but their daughters and their granddaughters love the brothers. And so, when I'm traveling through rural Florida and Georgia and Alabama, it's a whole lot of Trump pence on the back of the trucks with a whole lot of biracial grandbabies and children in those trucks. And let's not forget that still offends some of these bubbas who are not happy that their little girl or that their granddaughter has gone to the dark side, so to speak, literally,
I just know, Joy, I'm going to need to borrow your extra tooth because we have corn on the cob tonight. And so I need something to help get that work it out for me. One of the things that struck me about this week is that we did have some comeuppance for our good brother. We showed the brother in the video and he appeared to be retreating. Now the entire world knows that Eugene Goodman was actually diverting them away from the Senate. And so we drug you a little bit, Brother Goodman, but you really were a good man, and you were basically the only thing keeping that drunk mob of idiots from actually penetrating the chamber and potentially getting those vote boxes. So you sat there with your billy club or whatever it was that you did, and you did exactly what you needed to do by leading them away from where they really could have done some serious damage. So I'm gonna give you some big ups, brother, because you took it on the chin for a good 72, 96 hours. People were all over you right now.
Yeah. I was on record saying I knew he was up to something. I was like, he was being smart about it. I didn't know he was leading them away, but I did know that he could have gone in with them, and there was some reason he was being cagey about it. But but I'm glad that came out, because
it is
once again black people having to save white folks from themselves. I'm sick of that.
Put up Mark's comment, Tom.
The misdirection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel that's a nice classy way of saying it. Yeah, that is a very. Thank you, Mark, for giving us.
Thank you, Mark Stepney,
depth on how to describe it.
Yeah, that's a very nice way of saying it, because we saw one of the things that is becoming more disturbing. I know that you all have heard about the literal audio they have of how many people they're going to kidnap, how many people they're going to assassinate. We saw last week the data dump from Parler, where 70 terabytes of data and messages and photos and videos with geotagging should make it a lot easier to start getting people. All of the most famous people in the most famous photos of the Capitol thing, of solo shots, all of those people have been arrested. And of course, we knew about the gentleman, no, not gentleman, the dude who shocked himself and into a heart attack. My mother said in a post on Facebook today that her heart goes out to his family, to which I replied, his heart went out to his taser.
Well, that's cold. That's cold. That's cold, man. Woo. But true.
I mean, we're sitting here in a world where literally things are upside down. I don't understand, and I spoke about the 4 types of Congress critters. I don't understand how this late in the game.
Did you say Congress critters?
I sure did. I don't understand how this late in the game, and I've said it, go on ahead, do an audit of all 50 states. Trump has $200+ million that he fleeced from y'all people. Go on ahead and do the audit on his dime and publish the results. Because the only people who were scared of that audit are Trump people and the people who supported him. Because when the results come back, and they're all, I mean, they've already been certified by the states, and the states are the ones who have the dominion over the certification, so I don't even know why we're still doing this. But once all of that information comes out, then what are you going to do? It's just more fake news? So, I mean, what's the point of even doing any of it? Because until he wins, it's all fake, and we can't live in that world.
They were never going to be satisfied until somebody gave Trump all the ballots in the country and let him and Ivanka and Jared sit there and count them one by one and go, oh, this says Biden, this is fake. And then next thing you know, it's a major landslide. They weren't going to be happy until that, because even Republican legislatures were like, no, this is how it went. I'm sorry, it sucks for you, but he lost. Get over it. Which is the same thing they told us when Trump won in 2016. Y'all lost, get over it. Hillary lost, get over it. Hey, yo, Trump lost, get over it.
And you know what's funny, Joy? I'm sorry, Sharon.
Wait, breaking news. What is it, Sharon?
We can't make this shit up. The person that was hitting the police with fire extinguishers,
yes,
a retired firefighter. Can't make this shit up. Can't make this shit up. You got to get up. You can't make this shit up.
Let me guess.
Make this shit up. A retired firefighter threw a fire, and they just played it. I was like, I had to go get the update for y'all because this is real time.
They showed what he looks like.
They arrested him. Retired firefighter who stormed the Capitol said he followed Trump's instructions.
Oh, that's a headline.
Can I assume that he doesn't look like us?
No, you know he doesn't. Come on now.
They only have Ali and a little biracial black boy that they keep zooming in on.
Here's the thing. Even the black folks that was with them, you know, God help their crazy souls. Even the black folks that were with them wasn't crazy enough to lift up any weapons. Because as Trump washed as you might be, you ain't stupid. Wasn't no black people. They might have followed some people in. They might have been inside the room, but they ain't had no weapons. They didn't hit nobody. They just in the crowd.
I cussed out everybody from Smirconish on down. Stop zooming in on the one little biracial kid that's just toting the back of somebody's backpack.
Yeah.
The crazy black woman that's married to her slave owner.
Right.
And Ali, who just dimed out the congressman. Those were the 3 goddamn black people that was there. And there was 100,000 white people. And you know what I want to call them, but I'm behaving.
So did y'all see or hear about the headline from the local paper in Queens? They have a local community paper in Queens, which is where, of course, Trump originally hails. And so every time there's been a headline, you see a lot of Florida man stuff. So Florida man wrestles gator and dies, blah, blah, blah. So the Queens Daily Eagle, their headline on January 13th, Queens man impeached again.
Damn.
they never refer to him. And this is the lead. A Queens-born real estate developer made history Wednesday when he became the first U.S. president ever impeached twice by the House of Representatives.
Woo, that is crucial.
I love
That
it.
is
They-
slamming.
I love it.
You need to put that headline up. That's slamming.
Yeah, that's real there.
They
That's
always.
real.
Here we go. I'm gonna share it. Hold on. There we go. Queens man impeached again.
You gotta love it.
We should open up with that one.
Oh,
You gotta love
the
it.
Queens Daily Eagle, and
Yeah.
they have a
Cheers
whole
to the Daily
series.
Eagle.
Yeah, they have a whole series of headlines like this where they refer to him as Queens native, Queens man, Queens developer, blah 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 blah, completely shading the entire hell out of Donald Trump, and I am here for it. I am not mad at all. And there's a couple of people in the chats who are also feeling it. Ravine says, I'm from Queens. We don't claim him. I feel you. I wouldn't claim him either. There's
Got to have to move the hell out of New York.
I don't like them claiming Florida. Like when I was watching the certification last week, my stomach turned every time the gentleman from Florida, Donald J. Trump. I'm like, he ain't one of us, you know.
No,
so nobody wants to be with him.
Oh no, West Palm certainly doesn't want him. It's going to be very interesting. You got all those boxes. How many pods in the chat? How many pods do you think it would take to hold the Trump's foolishness that they are moving out of New York and out of the White House since they can't live in Mar-a-Lago due to an agreement that he signed? How many pods? And because pods are about $179 a month. Don't ask me why I know that. And how many pods do you think it's going to take to hold all of Trump's stuff? I want to see that in the chat. Go ahead, Joy.
I want to see that golden throne that he has just on the side of the road, surrounded by like boxes and blankets and trash, and shit. Like just homeless under a bridge because won't nobody take him in, surrounded by all his gaudy furniture and ratchet children. That's what I want. I really want that. Like,
you know what I want?
Melania going?
I want Trump.
She moved out already.
Oh, she's out already?
They told us 50% of her stuff is already moved.
I want
Trump. Move is not happening. The Bidens ain't moving into that shit, folks.
No. They gotta fumigate and do all sorts of stuff. I want Donald Trump to be like Steve Martin in Act 2 of The Jerk, after he was rich and had the little wine dispenser by his tennis court, and then he had to write all those individual checks from his invention.
Yeah.
I want Donald Trump to be in this is all I need. Walking in the street with a toilet seat around his neck in a robe, dragging stuff through this. I mean, that's what I want. That's what I want to see from Donald Trump. Yes, looking like Steve Martin. Thank you, Mark Stepney, picking it right up. Yeah, there's two.
Did they charge that guy with first-degree murder, or had they not said what his
fireman?
Yeah, the fireman.
No,
it can't be manslaughter.
Threw a fire extinguisher at 3 officers. He's not the one that killed the man yet.
Oh, I see.
Oh, okay. All right.
He's just been arrested for mayhem and stuff.
They literally showed him throwing it. Now he could end up being the one that killed him, but this was just the camera they had on him at that moment.
Ooh-wee. Yeah,
there is so much footage, and it seems like, to Sharon's point, they are waiting because the fewer names they put out, the fewer people that Trump can get on a list and just say, "You're pardoned." So if they leave it, then he's too selfish anyway. I mean, I can't imagine that he cares. We almost immediately
his most recent thing, Tom.
He doesn't care, but he
wants a parade. He wants a parade on Inauguration Day.
For where?
That just broke tonight too. Oh, he's going to upstage Joe Biden's inauguration and have his own farewell parade on January 20th.
But he's not going to the inauguration, so where's the parade?
Didn't the Pussycat Girls, didn't they do a counter celebration on Inauguration Day, or was it the day after that they went there?
It was inauguration week for sure. The million.
He's the president of the United States.
He's a petty little man with small hands and a mushroom shape.
He wants a party before his final minute. He gets a party. They just announced it. I'm still sitting here like DC about this big.
Right.
There's a lot of stuff about that big. But anyway, moving. I'm sorry. It was too easy.
I know none of that.
I only let Donald touch me once, and that was when we got barren, and so then I didn't have to do it anymore.
Melania left him years ago. Like she left him in her mind, like shortly after inauguration in 2017. She'd been gone. She just got her stuff out now, and she's happier than anyone, I would guess, because she can finally tell him to leave her the hell alone forever. So
right.
Dana Jane just educated you. Your military mom just said he can do it at Andrews Air Force Base.
Okay.
Of where we retired from.
But you know what?
I know Andrews. We were when my dad was at the Pentagon.
I'm just making you aware.
No, I know. I've been to the BX over there too.
I mean, nobody care if nobody's sane. Cares if he does another parade somewhere off in the corner with his people. But what I do hope that they have learned is if he does a parade or whatever he does, keep them contained, have maximum security around that so they can all, when they get ready to jump crazy, when they want that smoke, drop that smoke on them in the form of smoke bombs, tear gas, whatever. Make sure they don't get out because we can't have them doing what they did before. And I hope that in between all these different areas of federal land is DC police. And I know the DC police is like, what we're not going to do is let this happen again. Step foot off of there and see if we don't get you. And so I'm excited for that. I'm excited for those people thinking they're going to walk back to their car on DC property because you ain't going to make it, bruh.
I want them to use the same cages they use to house those children at the border to be his fence protection. And I'll tell you right now, what would really make it for me, I would love to see this inauguration parade where the little Eddie Kane reject stumbles in front. Nights like this, I wish the raindrops would fall. If you get that dude instead of Chrisette Michele, and I guess Carrie Hilson, because Carrie. I don't know who told you to turn on your Twitter, Carrie. I don't understand why you.
It is what it is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I'm gonna go to my phone because Carla asked about the. Have y'all seen the clip of
the black man in DC? Oh, wait a minute, hold on. Let's see if I can. Because they told that MAGA dude he was trying to get his flag out the car, and the brothers on the block were like, man, go from around here with that. You better pack that back in your car.
I got guns. We'll shoot at each other.
This is Biden Street. This is Biden's neighborhood.
While y'all looking for that, I want you to know they had the audacity at the DC briefing today. The reporters were like, well, since you have every inch of DC on lockdown, doesn't that push the MAGA supporters into the black communities? Aren't you concerned about what the black? I said, sweetie, make our mofo day.
I know that's right. Try it.
Mofo day.
Try it.
People that live in the perimeter and they can't even get groceries. People are trying to get to the airport. You Uber told them today, you got to walk about 8 blocks to catch your Uber.
Wow.
Right.
With your luggage. So people, if you ain't out of town, you trapped. You got no takeout. They don't want nobody working at the restaurants. So the restaurants got to close down because they don't want the employees trying to come in to work. So if you live inside the perimeter, you better get some groceries. You better get over to Harris Teeter's real quick because come Sunday, you starving.
Yeah, no, it's this place.
Ain't no White House parties you can get to get no food.
Yeah, it ain't gonna be a whole bunch of parties like it was
Everybody
last time.
went to the perimeter, got access, but they know where to go.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It would be a hoot if Trump tried to use some of that $200 million to throw another way overpriced party at his own hotel, which is currently under investigation.
Hotel rooms that I had to cancel just in time.
In Ivanka. See, this is what everybody is worried. Well, the MAGAites weren't really worried about anything. They just saw this as their chance to maybe start a race war and do something. But what Trump is actually worried about, and can we have one time, I'm sorry, I know a lot of people don't like Twitter, people have been calling censorship. Can I say how peaceful my life has been without being triggered by 742,000 Trump tweets of foolishness all day? It has been a balm. There is a balm in Gilead to soothe the tweet-starved soul. It's like you don't hear it, and because you don't hear it, there is no headline, and since there is no headline, there's no story, and since there's no story, we can just look at people who are getting arrested. It's marvelous.
I got so much work done this week.
Marvelous. And yet the foolishness continues.
I cannot find that video.
It is absolute. I can't find it either. I saw it on Facebook. I can't find it. But
Tom, it reminds
the video posted in the chat.
Yeah, if you have a link to it, post it in the chat, please.
Tom, it reminds me of when I left little old small Tallahassee to go to Atlanta as a freshman at Morehouse. We all know that Morehouse and Spelman and Clark and Morris Brown are in the hood. Well, they were in the hood. Most of the projects are now gone.
Right.
That were interspersed when we were in school there, Joy. But I had never been around that. And so living in Graves Hall freshman year, man, you heard gunshots almost every night. Like the city was constantly on. And
those were just the TAs.
Yeah, no doubt. And that was different. Right. And that's different from being in Tallahassee. And I remember the first time I came home that first semester, like several months later, it might have been for Thanksgiving. And I woke up in my old room and I had my window up and what have you. And I heard birds chirping and it freaked me out because it was just so peaceful and serene, where I was used to shooting and horn honking and cussing and mess, you know. And so that's how it's been for me ever since they suspended Trump 1 week ago today. Not having to read foolishness, listen to foolishness. It just makes me wonder how much farther along we would be had they done this quicker.
Man.
Had they done this
well, the
long
6
time
wouldn't
ago.
have happened. The 6 would not have happened because they wouldn't have been organized. They used the animus, because the paramilitary dudes on Parler and the Proud Boys and all that, the true hardcore white supremacist anarchists were always planning something. But it was all of the regular folks who got pushed into the pile because of Trump that gave them cover. Because when you got that many, I mean, it wasn't 500,000 people. These Trump people can't learn to count a damn crowd for nothing. But, you know, when you have all of these people and now you've got regular moms and dads, like girl who got pepper sprayed and she was crying. It's like, well, what did you do? Well, we were here for the revolution. They pepper sprayed us. Like, girl,
what you thought was going to happen?
What you thought was going to happen?
Right.
They got pepper spray. You know they got pepper spray. They ain't going to shoot your ass, but they got pepper spray.
They believe God was on their side.
Oh, wait. Somebody said Carla may have it. Hold on. I can't do that. I can't. That's not going to work. You can't come in here. We have to click it off the webpage, maybe. Hold on. Let me go to Steel Sharp and stuff. While we're doing that, I do have the video. I do want to give you all a chance to enjoy Miss Lenise. So I have the video. Let's see if we can hear it now.
Hey, y'all, what's up? It's Friday, so I'm going to keep it black. But I'm not about to keep it brief. I'm just here to read these white motherfuckers at the Capitol in no particular order. It was the Kim Possible and the Ron Stoppable on the side of the building for me. You're mad. You're so mad because you finally see what the rest of us have been trying to tell you. That the longest standing and unchecked terroristic threat in America has been white supremacists. It be your own people. Let me tell you what these good old boys meant when they said, give me liberty or give me death. Give me the liberty to be sexist, racist, xenophobic, anti-queer, and anti-anybody that don't prescribe to my transatlantic version of Christianity or off with their heads. It's either their way or the highway. But it's documented, in your words, that all men are created equal under God. We didn't mean that for the blacks. So now when we are using a system that you created to obtain the rights you get to experience so freely, all of a sudden it's democracy. Throw the whole thing away. So I guess you thought it was your turn to make a political statement in the street. Sir, ma'am, especially you with your, we're storming the Capitol, it's a revolution. Girl, if you don't get your Do you want a revolution? Black people are in the streets protesting murder, oppression, suppression, a lack of basic human rights and equal protections under the law. And what were you showing your behinds for? Oh, to be able to murder black people in the name of self-defense, to oppress black people in the name of white supremacy, to suppress black votes in the name of white political power, and to have more protections under the law than black people in the name of white comfort. It was the noose for me. It's giving very much Civil War Confederacy vibes. Hey, the Confederacy was fighting for states' rights to own slaves. Next. A joke. And embarrassment. The crimes? Trespassing, destruction of government property, mail theft, that's a felony, entering restricted government property with a weapon, let it have been a brown man, and they brought bombs, death. Immediately, and it would have been called justice. It was the beating on the blue lives that mattered for me. I don't want to hear any comparisons about what black people did in the summer of 2020 to what happened on January 6, 2021. Because for one thing, black folks know not to go to somebody else's house and put their feet on the table. This was baseless insurrection, anarchy, terrorism, and treason. But here's the thing, don't get me wrong, revolutions are a natural part of history. Rulers have been usurped, governments have been overturned, but it's always been evident and it's always been criticized when power was seized just for the sake of transferring power. Revolution has only been just and true when it's championing the oppressed. And let me tell you something, conservatives, you literally have lacked for nothing. It's in the name. Y'all conserving it for yourselves. Nothing has ever been denied to you. Your natural and civil rights have never been infringed upon. So much so that you don't even know the true definition of being oppressed, and any minor inconvenience or infringement upon your privilege would spark discontent, mayhem. White Christians. Y'all remember that scripture? One day the first shall be the last and the last shall be the first. The day has come and the girls are scared. I guess they didn't think it would come so soon. Oh, they've only been 400 years in power. You broke into a government building. Negroes could never. It was the police letting the gates open for me. And not only did you make it out alive, you made it home to see your children. Oh, but the Black Panthers stormed the California State Capitol in 1967 with their assault rifles. Yes, honey, and they were allowed to. Entering government buildings with weapons did not become illegal until 1995 after the Oklahoma City bombing. The most devastating act of domestic terrorism in U.S. history, by the way. And guess who did it? 2 white boys. Had this exact situation been flipped, and we would have been protesting the result, and mind you, we would not have been protesting because we lost. We would have been protesting because we knew it would have been the continued empowerment of violent racism. It would have been a massacre, but you knew that. White supremacists treat America like a woman, a white woman specifically, something to be defended and honored beyond reproach, and whose honor needs to be protected by any means necessary. And can't nobody disrespect America and get away with it except white men. And Dr. Brittany Cooper took it a step further. She called Trump an abuser, but I call white supremacy the abuser. And we all know the most dangerous time for a woman in an abusive relationship is when she decides to leave. And because America is starting to leave white supremacy behind, white supremacy is acting up. The tea is hot today. He lost. You lost. It's over. You're done. Listen, come close. The chasm between rhetoric and reality obviously doesn't exist for you people. And the way y'all will walk down the steps kindly after your act of terrorism shows that you won't know the difference anytime soon. It was the guns being pointed directly at aggressive mobs who intended to cause harm but not being fired for me. And that's the thing. Black people don't wish death on you. As much as we should be able to, we don't. We just wish we would be treated the same way when we're fighting for our rights. I need a refill. So white liberals, don't think I forgot about you. This is your mess to clean up. We don't want to see any more black people cleaning up the mess of irresponsible, unhinged, racist white people. So unbuckle those cufflinks, take off those suit jackets from Macy's, kick off those so-cate Louboutins, and don't be afraid to get them running your stockings. Put in some elbow grease and scrub that shit up yourself. Call them what they are, terrorists. Lock them up. We want federal charges and convictions for everybody, including Donald Trump.
Well, amen.
That's
Amen.
my little Spelman Night sister.
It was the leaning into the camera for me.
Yeah. Outstanding.
If you don't follow Lenisa, you really should. She does that like about every week or so, and she'll have sitting in her driveway in that chair just cutting up. I mean, somebody need to get that girl a show. I will watch it. She's good. I love it.
Amen.
I'll do right. You need to give us a show first, Lenisa.
Hey man, you know
she got a lot of followers and stuff. Listen, you can while we talk about show advocacy.
Right. You got a weird echo thing going on, Tom.
Do I?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe it's speaking. I don't know.
Well, however you turned her on.
Oh, maybe that's it. Well, I'm gonna turn off my mic.
Ooh, so while he's off, I'm gonna jump in because one of the things that she talked about, that I really wanted to highlight is storming the Capitol. But what did she say? Kim Possible and Ron Stoppable storming.
Ron Stoppable.
You know, first off, I love that show, but secondly, that's exactly what happened. And what I want to differentiate for everybody that still refuses to see the difference, every protest over the summer, every single protest in every part started off peacefully. There was an interaction with the police, which led to people losing their heads, losing their cool. You know, cars were turned over, or something may have been caught fire. Some of the stuff that burned, discovered people burn their own stuff trying to get insurance money. So that has to be factored in as well. But it always started off peacefully, and interactions with the police turned it into a riot. In this case, they started off planning to do harm to government officials. That is different.
Yeah.
And the fact that they thought they were justified in doing it does not excuse them of a crime. If I'm doing 95 miles an hour down the freeway because I'm trying to get home because I got to use the bathroom, I still get that ticket. Nobody cares if I was justified in my speeding because it was a dire emergency. I'm still going to get the ticket, right? Because I broke the law. And so if you break the law, I don't care how justified you think you are because somebody lied to you and told you all this stuff you believe is true. You broke the law. You broke into a federal building. And the people that stole mail and stole stuff out of there, like she said, that's a felony. I hope they all get the felony time. I hope they do hard time in Rikers. You know what? If they're tried for sedition and insurrection, I hope they all end up at Guantanamo Bay that Obama never did close.
Yeah. Or at that Supermax out in Colorado, where they send the real boys.
Or Arizona.
Yeah, or Arizona. Right. You know, Joy, it goes back to something that you said earlier too, and Sharon. Well, all of us have hit this thing, but Joy, you sounded it about an hour ago, which is at what point in time will there be consequences for their actions? You know, it's one thing, and I'm starting to see, and we are all starting to see where they're trying to paint this into a partisan type. Well, the Democrats. No. It is beyond that. And I want to say unequivocally, if in 2023, 2024, if President Joe Biden behaved in the same way or behaves in the same way that Donald Trump has since he lost the election, I would repudiate him. I would blast him in my blogs, on my social media posts, on air, wherever. I would not be down with the foolishness that we have seen. And so what I am still trying to figure out is, now that it's becoming clear that this was a coordinated attack, that it was an inside job. It was an inside job all day long. At what point in time do Republicans finally start to get past the partisanship and realize, you know what, this is out of control? And that goes back to what I was asking y'all, which is, I don't understand maybe the culture. And somebody on air, and I think somebody in our comments even said it's white supremacy. I think it was Joy May Harris, and that very well could be it. But it's something that I just can't comprehend, which is these people were out to kill you. And so at what point in time do you say, you know what, this can't happen? Not just because it happened, but to prevent the next person, be it a Hawley, be it a Cruz, be it whoever is the next, raging Republican that becomes a president or a Democrat. You can't sit up and sick your dogs on the other branches of government. And where does it stop? At some point in time, do they start to stalk out the Supreme Court as well? Or, we've already had issues over the last 10 years of federal judges being targeted and shot in cold blood. This takes us to a very dangerous place. And I'm going to need these Republicans to, if the trial goes forward, which it looks like it will, I really am going to need 17 Republicans and Mitch McConnell to go ahead and say, listen, we are going to disqualify Donald Trump because, yes, he will already be removed from office, but he needs to be disqualified from being able to ever hold office again, because this can't happen. He can't just ride off into the sunset without any consequences for what he did.
And
Look,
quietly, Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley, we want that more than anything else.
Still messed up, Tom. Chuck, I mean, I hate to say it, but until there's massive bloodshed, I mean, they killed the Capitol police officer and they're still talking shit until one of them drop. First of all, if it's a Democrat, it's still going to be a problem. Until one of them drop, or until there's some mass carnage, these people, I mean, look at history.
Yeah.
History is repeating itself. And when you are to a point, Donald Trump is a means to an end for the radicals that organized that riot. He sounded the bullhorn, but they had tours. They had floor plans. They had people that stood up after the insurrection and still said the election was stolen.
Yeah.
Everything that our forefathers have went through, everything that our ancestors lived through, this ain't nothing but the hoes and the dogs being sicked on us in 2021. And the irony is they won't even talk about us. You see, homeboy in Oklahoma had to apologize. I didn't know that what we were doing
Was racist.
Was based on y'all votes being invalidated. In what freaking century do you live in that your 5 black friends sat you down this week and told you, I'm sorry, were you trying to take black people's votes away?
Mm-hmm.
And it just came to you? Your black girlfriend, your chick on the side had to break it down? I mean, I don't understand. So even that type of apology, what are you apologizing for? Are you serious? Is any of us supposed to take that serious? That you were so caught up in the white mafia moment that you didn't think there was any harm to anybody else?
Here's the thing, though. He didn't. I firmly believe that he did not really think about it because they never think about us. We are not a blip on their radar. Our lives and our votes don't matter. We are just extra stuff on the edges of their reality. And it wasn't until somebody pointed it out that they even realized we existed. Once again, they have tried to marginalize us. Even in their fights, they don't consider how we are affected. You know, we are the ground under which all of these elephants and donkeys trample. You know, they don't pay us attention at all. And so, yeah, I believe him when he was like, oh, I didn't even think about that. Because when has he ever thought about Atlanta or Detroit or Philly? You know, he hasn't watched Fresh Prince in 20 years. You don't remember that?
That down. Lord have mercy.
Mm-hmm. When we say Black Lives Matter, that's exactly what we're talking about. They don't pay attention to what's going on with us at all. You can see it in everything. Like, think about all the movies that we've seen that they haven't seen. Think about all of the history that we know that they don't know. We are invisible to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
I am looking forward to white justice then, Joy.
Yeah.
I keep me invisible. Now, I want to see what your white on white justice look like.
Now, I want to give you an analogy for that because you talked about, you know, it's not until they see their own blood. You think about a bouncer at a club. They watch a lot of nonsense go on and they shake people loose and they break this up and let you go on back to fighting. But let you be fighting and accidentally swing and hit a bouncer in the mouth. Everybody going down. Everybody getting drug out. Everybody getting stomped because you hit me. And so that's what you got to get to. They're going to have to. It's only going to happen when they have that bloodshed. It almost happened at the Capitol. You know, if they had been able to actually grab hold of someone, it'd have been a whole different story.
Some of them walking up in there with guns. That's the cutest thing. The members are like, I'm terrified. What? I can't even believe that there's a debate about.
They should have been doing middle school drills for guns for active shooters. That might have helped them.
That's what I meant about the gas mask. I'm like, y'all ain't got no active shooter drills
going
on in the Capitol.
And now they don't want to go through metal detectors because oh my God, metal detectors.
They're packing.
Right.
They are packing.
But the problem I have with
they don't know these new members. They don't know if these new members are mentally stable.
Yeah, that's what I'm at, Sharon, because I'm like some of these Republican new members who are, well, I'm strapped. I'm like, well, who are you going to be shooting at? Are you going to be shooting at your MAGA supporters? Or are you going to be shooting at that Democrat over there that you don't like? That's my concern, you know?
Especially the one in the wheelchair. Because he's going to slap off with his little youth self.
Like I said, I don't wish it. I pray to God it don't happen. But we are at a tipping point. Donald Trump is the distraction. These clowns are out of control.
You know, what's interesting is I always thought that if they ever had to declare martial law or put a certain faction of the populace under observation and control. Honestly, I really thought it would be like black gangs, like the Rolling 60s or, the Crips or the Bloods. Like I thought they were I could have seen them doing National Guard into Chicago or something like that back in the day. It surprises me that we are now on the verge of having okay, so here was my conspiracy theory back from like a year or two ago. When they started trying to say that Black Lives Matter was a terrorist group, I was telling my friends, don't be using hashtag BLM because they're going to be able to go back through all of the stuff you post on Facebook and Twitter, whatever, and find anybody that's ever put BLM in their post and maybe potentially flag you as a potential threat. And now all Black people are flagged and all of our sympathizers, I could see them freezing accounts, declaring us enemies of the state, picking us up in the vans or what. I could see that happening. And now that exact thing, to some extent, has happened to the Parler crowd. All of a sudden, all those posts you thought you were in a private space on the internet. You don't know how the internet works, unfortunately, because that ain't what it do. Everything, like you said, huge data dumps. Amazon has your servers. The fuck you thought? So here we are, and all of this information is available, and they can go back through all the posts, all the people posing with selfies with their guns and their zip ties, and we're gonna storm the Capitol. Yeah, man, I can identify you. Oh, and you even put in here. And I think Parler, somebody said an hour ago that Parler was a setup, because if I'm not mistaken, Parler makes you put like your driver's license or something in there. I love it. Now they got all of their information, and it's gonna be great. Paul asked, did the shootings go down in Chicago? No, I was just using Chicago as an example because it's always in the news as some crime. Matter of fact, Chicago's not even the most top 10 violent cities in the country anymore. But I had thought that if something was going to go down with Black people, they would have started there with martial law. But it never happened because they're about to have to do it in Appalachia because these people don't know how to act. They're cutting up. And I'm interested to see what happens in the long run after the 20th.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead, Chuck. I'm sorry.
No, and it's one of those things where, again, we have to continue to hammer the hypocrisy of these ones on the right who always have something to say when they should have complied. Blue Lives Matter, all lives matter, back the blue. They always have something to say. They always try to make it look as if we are the worst people. And one of the funniest memes I saw this week is of Newt calling Kaepernick in an airport, and it said, guess who isn't on the no-fly list? And again, a reminder that just because he was kneeling and just because those NFL guys were kneeling, that was more offensive to so many of our non-melanated brothers and sisters than what they saw last week. And that continues to remain a problem because that is prima facie evidence that you're a racist. I mean, there's nothing, and I get so tired of some of us, individuals that are in the media or whatever are scared to call it what it is. Like, well, I don't want to call them. No, these folks are racist. I mean, at the end of the day, if what happened last week doesn't bother you, but you're still pissed off with Kaepernick and Eric Reed and the NFL boys for kneeling, then you're a racist. There's nothing else for us to discuss, other than how's the weather. So we have to continue to put this mirror before their eyes because, again, I'm not on team unity. I can't unite with evil. I can't unite with racists. If you don't see my humanity and our collective humanity, then, hey, I can't do nothing for you. So that's kind of where we are.
Hey, Tom.
Hey, I'm trying to see.
You good?
Good.
Much better now. Okay.
I think it's time for Gangster of the Week.
I think it is time for Gangster of the Week, and that's in fact why I wanted to try to get back up in this thing because we have some gangsters that we need to go through. Okay. Who would like to start with their Gangster of the Week this week?
I'll go first.
Okay.
I want to bring up. Can I have an honorable mention and then my Gangster of the Week?
Well, it depends on whether or not I have a picture of your honorable mention.
You have a picture of my soror?
I do. That's your gangster, right?
Yeah. We're gonna roll with her. We're gonna roll with her.
Okay.
So my Gangster of the Week. Okay, so most of you may know, and I want to say first off, shout out to all the members of our audience who may be members of the esteemed sorority Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. Happy Founders Day. Happy all of you. I appreciate you on any given day. All my BFFs or AKs, so any given day I'm surrounded, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So happy Founders Day to all the Ks, in my life and in the audience. Now, that being said, my soror on January 13th, which happened to be Founders Day for Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated,
Bam.
Was in the middle of giving her speech as to why the president should be impeached, but she had to let him know. Put it up. You're impeaching the president, but you got to let him know.
Represent.
That red, oh my God, down to the, I love it. I love it. The redness of it all. I gotta have it. And so she's my gangster just for saying, y'all gonna get this fashion.
Yeah, that's what they call monochromatic dressing. And
yes, and it was glorious.
Entirely out.
I mean, even the mask,
all coordinated,
same material.
John Witherspoon, rest in peace. She coordinated that entire outfit.
Yeah.
We just got a tweet. You'll be tempted to let Ivanka the Terrible slip away. This is from Rogue POTUS. You'll be tempted to let Ivanka slip away from your memory, but that would be a mistake. You should always want to remember this moment, especially the look from Lagarde. So we mentioned before. Oops, you probably can't even hear me no more.
We can
hear you. We don't.
Okay, great. So
okay.
we mentioned before the shenanigans that Miss Ivanka has been engaged with as it pertains to her soldiers and the folks who are supposed to be assigned to her.
Tom, you doing?
You're gone.
We can't hear you now.
While Tom transitions, we also need to acknowledge that this is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday.
Yes, it is.
That's right.
Rest in peace, Dr. King.
The actual birthday.
Mm-hmm. The actual birthday.
Actual factual.
Mm-hmm.
How was this?
So do we have our next gangster?
We does. Who's going next?
I'll be happy to.
Go ahead, Sharon.
So while all of this is going on, the person who got it cracking when everybody wanted to say, just chaos, just DC is out of control, and what the hell are DC police is doing? How could they let Capitol Police do this? My girl, DC Mayor Muriel Bowser called her press conference, and she put Black Girl Magic.
Yes, she did.
Put some respect on it. She was like, oh, I'm sorry. My police saved the day. I don't know what y'all talking about.
Right?
We don't have no power to call it a National Guard because we're not a state.
Right.
We're a state and we can move faster. She got her little legislative agenda in, and then she paraded her handsome police chiefs up there and said, let them have it. And now, just like homeboy running up the steps, of course, Black people's who saved the day, because all of DC leadership look like us.
Yeah.
Me and Chuck,
and Team Chocolate.
Right. Chocolate City was like, what we not gonna do.
Right.
What we're not gonna do is blame us.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody has made it very clear that Metropolitan Police, what they call them? It's not called DC Police, called Metropolitan Police, rolled up in there to give they Capitol Police the needed backup and save the day.
Let me tell you, DC Police, that night shift was not here for play. I saw the videos of them and they was like, move. I mean, they were serious with it. They were like, well, we not having none of this. Y'all get your little ragged asses on back to whatever mountain you climbed out from under. Y'all got to get up out of here. But it was go home and you probably can't fly, but you got to get the hell out of here.
It was the aggressive enforcement of curfew for me.
Yeah.
They were about what is it that the young kids
push them out?
What is it the young kids say? They were about the shits.
They were shits. Yes,
they were the shits. Is that what the little kids say? Chuck,
but
I'm gonna go next.
A little respect on it. How we all like to say everything was a lot worse last summer, but them people was getting their ass maced, tear gas, they asses off.
Oh yeah, no.
I was like, and there's only one. Evidently, there's only one police officer in the entire force that saw a Black man and shot, because there was only one gun drawn that shot and killed homegirl in the seconds. He didn't ask no questions. He didn't say, do you have a gun?
Right.
He saw body fluid. He felt the heat coming through, and she was like, "Pop." I was like, "Okay, that's black men. Stay away from that cop."
But can we note for the record that he fired exactly one shot? All these cops shooting. There was a black man whose family called on a mental health emergency the day before they had called, and a mental health professional had actually come to the house, which is why they felt comfortable calling the police again the following day. And the man got out the car and wasn't a mental health professional. Apparently he was tased. He felt threatened and shot the man on his own lawn.
Yeah.
But that cop sat there and he said, "I see who I'm gonna shoot. I see your neck, cop." And then she dropped like a sack of potatoes, and one shot, because it depends on who you shoot. If you shoot the right one, then it's done. So I'm gonna go with my gangster. Now he's a more eloquent gangster. And I don't usually represent GOP folks, but I've lived in Michigan a number of times in my life, and this is a freshman Representative Meyer from Michigan. He actually won Justin Amash's seat after Justin went independent in protest of Trump's chicanery. And this man was one of the 10 Republicans who actually voted to impeach. He was among the caucus of Republicans who certified the election. And I was listening to a podcast. Again, I mentioned Mike Barbaro and The Daily from the New York Times. And this podcast is an abject lesson in honor and integrity and right thinking in terms of the body politic in this country. This is a man who has conservative beliefs. He is a military veteran, but he knew. And he was one of those GOP people who came out and said that Trump was rankly unfit to hold the office of president. And he said, yes, I know he's about to be out of office in 6 days. And I heard some of the people on my side of the aisle who were saying this is pointless, we need to heal. He said, there can be no healing in this country without accountability. And until these people tell these people who have been lied to that they have been lied to, there's no way that we can pretend that justice has been done. And Donald Trump has proven himself. He told a harrowing story of being shepherded from this room to that room. And then they finally went into this meeting room where they do their testimonies and their adjudications and things. And a whole bunch of the people have been clustered there, which to me was a problem, because Lord help them if they had found that little basement room. It would have been, because I posted, you thought that these MAGA people were only there for the Dems. Bro, they don't know what their local Republican congressperson looks like. Trust and believe.
Government.
They were there for government. They don't know what you look like, person from District 27 in Kenosha. They have no idea you're wearing a suit. They had congresspersons taking off their pins so that they would be thought of perhaps as staffers. That's how anonymous you were.
Police in uniform.
Exactly. They were beating armed police with flagpoles. They don't know what you look like. And if you think they do, and if you think you could say, but I'm with Trump before you got a fist in your mouth, or as Chuck would have done, a foot, you are sorely mistaken. So I give all credit to this man. Listen to the podcast. Rankly Unfit is the name of the podcast on The Daily. It's today's episode. He gets my Gangster of the Week because he said on the podcast he may well have signed the end of his political career. He is wearing bulletproof armor now because he has been threatened, but he did what he felt he had to do in order to preserve democracy and the country. So that's my gangster. Go ahead, Chuck.
Yes, sure. Mine is brief. It's Lieutenant General Russell Honore. We all remember the general from the work that he did post-Katrina. He is a no-nonsense type. That picture there invokes memories of Patton. Looks like he's chewing somebody out or giving somebody some orders and directions right there. And he's been tapped by Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi to get to the bottom of what went wrong last week. And I have no doubts in my mind that he is going to be able to give us the names and the coordinates in time of who it was that was complicit in allowing the Capitol complex to be overrun by the MAGA mob. So that's my gangster of the week, General Honoré. A proud graduate of Southern University as well. One time.
There you go.
Time for SU. Put that picture up one more time.
All right.
If fuck your feelings was a picture, this would be it.
That's it right there.
Yeah,
indeed.
I do on that note of Joy's note, I want y'all to watch how many Black police chiefs are elevated, how many Black people will be running things in security, because white people don't trust each other right now.
Right.
They don't know which side you own.
You know, that's what happened in World War II. When they couldn't trust their own soldiers, because you could be infiltrated by a German that spoke English really well. They had to send Black people on specific missions to make sure that they were American soldiers. Once again, Black people saving the damn world.
Yeah.
Watch how many people running Biden and Kamala's detail.
That's right.
And watch how many people leading the scrubs, and just like Honoré, they like, I'm not real sure of your body politic, white man. You report to this Black woman over here in uniform. You about to see sisters in uniform and brothers in uniforms running everything in the Capitol.
A whole bunch of professional headshots, like.
Right.
The Brendas are coming. Move over, Karen, because the Brendas are coming.
Honey.
So this is typically the time where we give our final little shout outs. This has been an incredible week. I never would have believed, and still people talked about Nixon and Ford's pardon of Nixon. Nixon resigned. He basically admitted it, and he apologized, and he wrote a letter, and he said, "I'm out." I mean, he just dipped. Meanwhile, Trump is saying, I will never concede Joe Biden is not the president. That's the last thing he has to say about this right now. I will never concede, and Joe Biden is not the president, and I won by a landslide because I say so, because that's what I believe. With no evidence to the contrary, just that's what I believe, and so there it is. That's it.
Elvis, he's going to go out like Elvis.
On a gold toilet. Yeah, I'm fine with that. I have no problems.
I actually would like a picture of that, so we can put that in as his portrait.
Gonna take over.
That's gonna be his presidential portrait in the presidential gallery. Him sitting on a toilet, squeezing out that last little in his brain. That's right.
Squeeze it out.
His tiny little inarticulate thing. So I will just say I feel blessed this week just to be in a country that has survived Donald Trump so far. I mean, it remains to be seen, I guess, but a bloodless, mostly bloodless, you can't even call it a bloodless coup. It was a failed coup that included blood. And we are going to see even more. We're going to see the fallout of what this has wrought in the coming weeks. And, I thought it might be great to come to the inauguration. I'm glad I'm going to save several $100s by not doing that. And I will enjoy it on live stream or Vimeo or Zoom or whatever Joe and Kamala are putting together for us. I think it's going to be great. Just get the producers who did the DNC, get those people to do it. And I'm sure it will be absolutely fine. That will be super duper. And that will be appropriate. And we definitely will not see Trump's press secretary the day after the Biden inauguration talking about crowd size. So, because Joe doesn't care. Joe just wants his hand on the book and the boss.
When you know what you're doing, you don't have to worry about size.
You sure don't. You sure don't. It's the motion in the ocean, as it were. So,
y'all know this wasn't coffee, right?
So that's all I had to say. Going ahead, Chuck. I'm going to take myself out of the stream because my arm is tired.
Sure. I just, in brief, again, thank everybody for coming out and spending a little time with us on a Friday evening. This is the last Friday evening of the Trump administration. Oh my God. This time next week, we will have a brand new president and a brand new vice president.
You said
So,
that.
Yeah, so we have survived. That's all I want to say. Have a good weekend. If you are in a state capital, stay home. I live in Tallahassee. Sharon lives in Tallahassee. Joy, you're in Atlanta. This ain't our fight. Sit back and let's watch the white folks act up if that's what they want to do. Has nothing to do with us this time. This ain't our fight. So again, be safe, because I don't want to hear about somebody getting shot or hurt just because you happen to be like, well, I'm curious. Let me go see what the MAGA mob. No, you know what the MAGA mob looks like. Look at them on TV and allow them to sort out their problems. That's all I want to say.
Get your lemon pepper wings and sit your ass at home.
Yes.
Right.
How about that? Go ahead, Joy.
I just want to say thank you to everyone that is in our audience today. We really love the interaction that y'all give us. It gives us energy to keep going. Appreciate the witty repartee in the comment section, and it's always good. Once again, I want to say happy birthday to all the January babies. You know, for anybody that we're going to miss because their Founders Day doesn't fall on today. But happy Founders Day to the K's. Happy former Founders Day to everybody that's gone before, including the Deltas. And to echo Chuck, yo, go grocery shopping this weekend. Get your stuff and be in the house with your popcorn and your lemon pepper wings, whatever else you need to last till about the 23rd. And don't be outside, regardless of where you live, because there have been rumors that things are going to happen in different states. So especially, I can see them trying to come to Atlanta. I wish you would try to get into Fulton County, you know, because them ass gonna be cashing checks if you do. But stay safe, everybody, and hopefully this too shall pass sooner rather than later. And here's to hoping for no pardons and all convictions.
Ooh, hashtag no pardons, all convictions.
I like that. Sharon, it's you.
What did Russell Simmons used to say?
God bless and good night.
God bless and good night.
God bless and good night.
Amen.
Thank y'all, good people.